What does it mean to you when someone says, let your light shine?
Be yourself and be who you want to be. I'm a survivor, I ain't gonna give up, I ain't gonna stop, keep on surviving. Why would you not let your child do what they love?
I think you're getting a little sassy, young lady. You need to stay in a child's place.
But they're closer to my age than yours.
And what's that have to do with it? I'm the parent and I know what's right. What you know, you only 10.
But that child doesn't seem happy.
And then I think it would just go off the rails there. We can't let our own issues get in the way of what our children are into. What does your most confident outfit look like? Y'all can't see her. She's so excited. She's shaking her legs and doing like the villainous hand thing. Why?
One word for what you're learning in this season.
Patience. Why say it like that though? I'm not learning patience. It's a journey. It's learning, not have learned.
Very long journey. What always makes you laugh no matter what?
I was going to say Emma, and she's looking at me like, right? Me.
Yeah.
Emma are the dogs.
Yeah.
Here's what's coming to me, that you are the closest to accessing joy. Dogs and little people.
Welcome to Living in 3D Power. Discover your truth, discern your path, determine your power. I'm Dr. Amber Sessoms, and together, let's unlock our power, build authentic connections, and foster collective liberation. Welcome back to episode 17 of Living in 3D Power. This week's episode was sparked by something simple but powerful. So in our listener Q&A episode, Jessica from California asked Emma, where does your confidence come from? And without skipping a beat, Emma said, from my heart and my gut. And she also added, and I'd tell anyone, you have a voice too. Let it shine. And that's the line that stopped me in my tracks, because how many of us forgot that our voice was never meant to be small, forgot that we were born with brilliance by brilliance. And it made me think of a question I often ask the leaders when I work with teams. And it's, what part of you do you have to leave at the door before you walk into work? And to also reframe it and think about, what about those that you serve? What do they have to leave at the door before they walk into your organization, your company, your office? But this week, Dr. Raquel Martin on Instagram posed a question that gave me an even bigger reframe. And she asked, what parts of me got me into the room, and how am I honoring them today? And that question, y'all, was a reckoning. And our call to action, identify one place in your life where you've been performing safety. This week, she said, I want you to choose presence over performance. And that's what this episode is about. The moments when children in their unfiltered clarity and wisdom call us back to our own truth, to name our brilliance, to stop shrinking for systems that were never, ever meant to hold us, to stop performing, to be present, to tell the truth with tenderness. And Emma's voice reminded me, and maybe it'll remind you, that letting your light shine isn't naive, it is necessary. So let's get into this episode.
It's me, it's me, it's me. It's me, it's me, it's me. Hey, it's me, Emma. Welcome back to Living in 3D Power, and today we are going to be talking about shining your light.
Shining your light. And I got this because you remember when you did your Q&A, you had a lot of questions come in, and Jessica, all the way in California, her question to you was, you have such a strong voice, Emma. Where does your confidence come from? And what would you tell someone who is feeling they are not good enough to speak up? And I loved your response because you were like, I think my confidence comes from my heart. You were like, my heart and my gut. Remember you made that motion. And you also said something I would say to a person that can't speak up is you have a voice too, let it shine. So it made me think about what are the ways that Emma shines her light?
Yeah.
And also because next Monday, y'all, we're going to be doing a live episode, which will air again on Wednesday, but she's going to be on stage, on the big stage at
Am
where?
I missing school?
Yes, you have to miss school. It's an educational trip. What better educational trip than to speak life to seventh graders? So the entire seventh grade community, girl community in school district of Lancaster, which is a neighboring city, you're going to be on stage with me. And we're going to be doing a live episode and talking to the girls about freedom dreaming. So imagining that you are a 10-year-old talking to seventh graders, I think is amazing. It's an amazing opportunity. And again, it speaks to how you're using your voice and letting your light shine. And it doesn't matter what age you are, that people have been inspired by you. And they're like, oh my gosh. I had someone at church, I told you, right? Someone at church came up to me and she goes, oh my gosh, the episode where Emma was talking about being silent, she said, I showed that to a colleague and it just really resonated. So I just think it's so awesome that even young people and older people are saying, I really relate to what you are talking about. And Emma is so wise. And we always say, you've been here before. So the first thing I thought we'd do something a little different today. We're gonna do some rapid fire questions. So rapid fire means you have to be quick with a response. You can't think about it. Whatever comes in your head, it's kind of like stream of consciousness. So I don't know, y'all. We'll see how this goes. It could be scary what she says, but whatever is tip of the tongue, whatever is in your head, you kind of like blurt it out. Hopefully I don't have to make any edits. Okay, so I think I only had 7 for you, but rapid fire, I'm gonna ask you these questions and then whatever pops in your head, you're gonna say it, okay? Ready? Funniest emoji.
The one with the bubbles
The bubbles on the face.
on the face.
I think that's a new one that the iPhone added.
Yeah.
Quiet or loud?
Loud.
Of course. Dream job as of today.
Fashion designer.
Doesn't surprise me. Confidence feels like.
It feels like it's like you're strong and like you have a superhero cape.
Ooh, I love that. Speaking up is.
Telling the truth.
Come on now. Favorite color to wear when you feel bold?
White, yellow.
Like this yellow or like a yellow? Because you know
Like
I'm a mustard yellow.
highlighter.
Oh, highlighter yellow. Like
highlighter
neon highlighter yellow
Yeah,
when
like
you're feeling
any
bold.
highlighter.
So the colors matching the boldness for sure. Neon. Okay. Song that makes you feel powerful.
Survivor by Destiny.
Now I feel like you have to sing a little bit of that.
Aww.
Survivor was probably like when I don't know how old I was, maybe early 20s. I just find the year, but for you at 10 to know that song. What's the hook?
I'm a survivor, I ain't gonna give up, I ain't gonna stop, keep on surviving.
Okay, now that's a good mantra. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so I think you have some questions for me. Let's see. I think you did that. Rapid fire was darn good.
Let's see how you do.
Nah, no, because I
It'll be
overthink.
like,
I know, but I can't. Whatever comes in my head, boom.
best snack to eat while thinking deep thoughts.
You know, chickpeas in the air fryer with some avocado oil and some mashed avocado.
What's your boldest outfit choice ever?
I think recently at the Reese's party, I wore sheer lace pants and all you could wear under it was like high-waisted underwear, but I wore a blazer over top. So that was bold. And then underneath it was kind of like a lacy brassiere bra, like crop bra. Your dad's like, where are you going? But I went with your dad.
Joy feels like
Butterflies all over. I don't know, butterflies and like lightness, like fluffiness.
when I feel powerful, I usually.
Oh, see, I'm thinking too long. When I feel powerful, I don't know, the
You're
first thing
like-
that came to me was talking. I want to talk about it. Or when I feel powerful, I'm on stage talking to people. I think that makes me feel powerful.
One word your younger self would use to describe you now.
First word that I said was accomplished, but would my younger self use that word?
No.
Yeah, that's the word that's coming to me right now.
Most you color.
The color I have on, if y'all aren't watching, it's mustard yellow. That is my color. Mustard yellow shoes, mustard yellow shirts, mustard yellow blazers,
Half
suits.
your closet is mustard.
That's not true.
But how come you don't like mustard?
I don't mind mustard, but it's just like,
it's sour.
what's the point
Tastes
of
like
it?
Lemon.
If it's mixed with something, but not on its own. When I used to make hams, I would put the ground, like the mustard seed kind
the
on,
mustard
and then rub
powder.
that all over ham. That was good.
If you had a hype song before a big talk, what would it be?
You see, last year I did Black School Psych Network, and was the keynote. And I literally, they asked me that question, what's your hype song? And I was like, I don't have one. Just let me come out on the stage. And they were like, we can play whatever. And I was like, all I have is gospel. And they were like, oh, I need to get one. So maybe you can suggest a good hype song for me.
I think I got one for you.
Yeah, I need a hype song. I think that's a good idea to have.
What always makes you laugh no matter what?
Wait, I was going to say Emma, and she's looking at me like, right? Me.
Yeah.
Emma or the dogs?
Yeah.
The dogs can be
That's
pretty
true.
funny.
They're like,
So maybe something about being young. I think like the laughing is also just, here's what's coming to me, like that you are the closest to accessing joy. Dogs and little people.
okay, next question. What's a phrase you say all the time that we tease you about?
Oh, you're laughing because I don't know what I say, but I know when I was still in the schools, you know that plaque in my office that says listen? One of the students made that for me for Christmas because I would always be like, listen. But I can't think of anything that I say now. Oh no, what do I say?
You say like a lot.
Like a valley girl?
No, not like when you're talking on the phone. Like, that's crazy. Like,
Oh, I don't like that. When I was in high school, we had a speech class and they had a bell. And every time you used a filler word, so like is a filler word, is a filler word, they would ding, ding. So they would condition us to stop saying
yeah,
like.
that's what they did in third grade. This one teacher was like, when you said like or like when she calls on you and you're like
She would ding you just for answering a
no,
question?
she would be like, next.
Oh, wow. You never told me that. I'm like, were you doing a speech?
No.
I had to think about that.
It was
but
just a regular
phrase
class.
that I say, I don't know. I bet Daddy probably has a phrase that I say, I don't know.
Probably. I don't.
Maybe I don't anymore.
I don't know. Probably not. The last one. One word for what you're learning in this season.
Patience. Why say it like that, though?
We're sure.
It said learning. Dang, you trying to play me. I'm not learning patience. It's always something. It's like an evolution. It's a journey. I still need to work on that. It's learning, not I haven't learned.
Very, very, very long journey.
Dad. All right. That's why I said learning, not having learned.
Yeah, but
I can tell like now I'll take deep breaths before I go in. Because I'm like, oh my gosh. It's hard for me. Like, so you said your teacher is next if you're fiddling or trying to think of it. That wait time can get to me sometimes. All right. So Emma just said
that was last year.
patience.
You need to work on
The level of patience you have to have in this house, okay? Building my capacity.
I got better.
Okay, yes, I agree. Emotional capacity that is being built in this house with patience. Parents, caregivers, human beings. Patience is a virtue. We're working on it. Thanks for that mirror, Emma. And I need to still work on that. Okay, so I have some questions for you. These are not rapid fire, so you can take your time and pontificate and think about it and expand on it. But when did you first realize your voice mattered?
In preschool.
Preschool? Now, I never heard, you know what? I might have been right there with you thinking that my voice mattered when I was young, because you were very much like me. But why did you realize that your voice mattered that early?
As we were talking in the later episodes, like a couple months ago, we were talking about how one of my friends in preschool got not essentially bullied, but like
It was racist.
yeah.
But I mean, it's hard though, because at that age, I mean, you're 3, but that's a learned behavior. But was that the student that didn't want to touch the other student's hand? Yeah. A white student didn't want to touch your black friend's hand. But so why did that help you realize you had a voice?
Because I needed to stick up.
So what did you do?
Didn't I tell you? Or
You did tell me. So is that what helped you realize you had a voice? Because you told me? And I think this is really important that you're bringing up is like, if I tell my voice to someone that I trust, they believe me and then they act on it. So I think a lot of times what happens, and what we talked about last week and the week before, and which is why the colleague was saying, oh my gosh, I had to share this with someone because the silencing is real in our job right now. We can't say anything. That's what's happening. So if I say something or something's happening on the job or something's happening in my community and it doesn't bring any type of resolve or people don't believe me, I'm less likely to speak up again. So I think I'm giving myself a gold star for that because I believed you. We did something about it. We talked through it. And you had a resolution. So I think that for you was a really good arc and pathway for you finding your voice. Good job, Mommy. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So what does it mean to you when someone says, let your light shine?
be yourself and be who you want to be.
Yeah, because that question when you said before, you have a voice too, let it shine. So as part of being yourself, going with the other question is being yourself, there has to be some type of voice with that.
Yes.
Or you being able to speak your truth and be believed. So I love that. Be yourself. Yes. And I call myself the authenticity architect because there's so many of us in this world that have to unlearn the ways we thought we had to belong. And I help people understand who they are, even at your age or earlier. It's the closest you're going to get to your authentic self, right? Before the world paints this picture that you should be, we have to do a job as adults and exposing you to things that show you who you are, that you're really passionate about, instead of saying, oh no, don't be like that, that's weird. Your weirdness is cool.
No painting, no sketching.
No painting, no sketching. Could you imagine if someone told you that? What would you do?
Die.
What did you say? You would die.
I'd be like, no.
And Emma's super dramatic, but I mean, what you're saying is true. So people have gifts and talents and interests that they see when they're young or they want to explore when they're young.
Like in the show we're watching.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, I don't know names, so
Yes.
what's his name?
I don't know.
Now you're turning into me. So on the show, give them some backstory on that.
So basically, there's this guy that loves to paint, and they're in like one of the episodes, this bully
Definitely a bully.
knocked him over on purpose,
Off a ladder.
while he was painting, and then he broke his wrist, and he was like, "Oh, it's just an accident. I'm sorry."
But what's the tie in there? Because is he a bully because he thinks it's weird that he's into art?
I think.
I think that's part of it, because you remember in an early episode they were outside playing, because show is what, in the early 1900s?
Yeah.
And they were playing some kind of ball or like, you know, and he didn't want to, he was off to the side drawing and they thought he was weird. So I think a lot of that, like kids will tell you that you're weird, right? And sometimes you'll believe that,
weird.
but then he has really good friends that are like, no. Remember he got so frustrated because after he broke his
Yeah.
wrist,
He was
it's
like,
hard for him to draw. And
And
she
he
took
would-
it out of the fire.
Yeah, he threw it in the fire.
And she took it out. She's like, you got to keep going.
But then they
But
went.
then,
They went.
dun, dun, dun.
They went to a party.
Like a gala, fancy party, flower party or something.
Yes. And this artist was telling him about like what you should do and like when like
To get his wrist stronger.
Yeah, like,
Is that why he had the clay?
yeah.
I remember
That's
you
what she
said,
said.
you were like, that's really good advice. I think it's so, I've never, like a 10-year-old is like, that's really good advice. But I think what I was saying for that part too is that she was speaking life into him. That especially as an elder, and she's saying, don't give up your dream, don't give up your gift. And I think that's the important part. And I was talking to, I forget, a friend, and she was saying something about her kids really into something. And I said, but sometimes as parents, we get frustrated because we need to work on our patience. And you're really into something and we might miss it. We might be like, we're frustrated because there's something on my couch right now, or like you're drawing on the wall, or all the things. And we were like, oh, we're frustrated by that. And then instead of being curious and leaning in, saying there's something to tap into. I'm not saying it's not her, but there's literally something on the side of my couch.
It's not me.
Scribble on the side of my couch.
It's not me. That looks like a crayon. That looks like a crayon, and I don't.
Who else in this house?
I don't have any black crayons.
Anyway, y'all, the point is that we need to be more curious as parents and caregivers or community people and see what our students and our youth are passionate about and help them and expose them to that. So I think that's an awesome concept there. Letting it shine. That's an important part.
Let it shine.
Oh, I like this question because I could see this for you. And maybe you on the stage next week is going to be a good start to you having your own talk show. So if you had your own talk show, what would you call it?
M and me.
M and me? Explain that. What's that about? What's the whole, because usually shows have a point, a focus, a vision, a mission, purpose.
So you know the friend, like the song in Toy Story?
You have a friend in me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a friend in me. And M and me.
You have a friend in me. So who would you have on your show, or what would you do on your show?
I would have some friends.
Friends, that would be important. M and me.
And we would talk about the things that have been happening.
Oh, I like that. A show with your friends. M and me.
You got a friend in me.
Is that going to be like then you have to come up with a new theme song?
Yeah, it would be like, you got a friend in me.
You know what I think would kind of be cool? We would have to obviously get your friends' parents' permission, but maybe one day you can sit down with your friends. You would love that. I could totally see you doing that. But that would definitely require parent permission. But I think that's great.
Podcast?
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. We'll see. Have you question, y'all? Because I've asked Emma this a couple of times.
Because I got it out because I was gonna tell them that I'm gonna be like gone for like a trip.
Right.
In February.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah,
so
that's a big trip.
Let us know, y'all. Here's a thought that I had. So our national conference, National Association of School Psychologists, we have our annual convention every February. This coming year, it's in Chicago, which is super close to Pennsylvania. It's like a 90-minute flight. So my thought was, and I wish, because Emma always had the convention, she's off that Friday and Monday. The conference doesn't start until Tuesday. So you would have to miss school. We'd have to see about that. But I had this great idea where Emma and I could present at the conference and do a paper session.
Yes.
And we could talk about the podcast and the themes that are emerging from the podcast and how that can help us as school psychologists, because literally our work is with students. And I haven't been able to go to a lot of the conferences in the past because the place I worked, it wouldn't allow me to go unless it was super close. They just had all these rules, so I couldn't go. But now that I work for myself, I can go to the conferences. And I do wonder, though, have there ever been any other students? I'm talking about young students presenting. Probably not a 10-year-old. You'll be 11 at that point. Yeah. But so I'm thinking of submitting a proposal.
Oh, yeah, I will be 11.
Yeah, you'll be 11 then. But I'm thinking of submitting a proposal for Emma and I to present a session at our national conference. So let us know what you think. You think that'd be a good idea?
Please come.
Yeah. So it'd be in Chicago. So Daddy can come, fly you in, and then he can fly you back home as I'm there because I have to be there for the whole week. I think it'd be a great idea. I think it's a great idea. I mean,
Maybe we could have a vacation.
yeah, and I think if we go early, right?
Yeah.
I might have, we'll see.
We could go on like the days I'm off and then like
Look, she didn't already plan this whole thing out. It's going to be cold in Chicago in February.
I'm going to bring my...
Cold. And you know, Daddy does not like cold. And it's not just cold, it's windy. I've been in Chicago in April, and April wasn't bad, but February, it's going to be brisk. I mean, I have friends that are saying they're not even going to go because it's so cold. Anyway, I think, so I think that's a great idea. I'm glad you told your friends. It's funny that they're like, no way.
They had trouble pronouncing the name.
Did they?
Yeah, I was like, living in 3D power, and they were like, what? I was like,
I wonder if
living
they
in 3D
what
power.
you have to send them a link and maybe they can watch an
Yeah.
episode or two. All right. Oh, here's a good question. So speaking of friends and being in school, if you were the principal for a day, what's the first rule you change?
Dress code.
Wait, I couldn't even get the whole question out. The dress code? Why?
Because some people don't get to wear what they want to wear.
What do they want to wear that they can't wear?
Tank tops.
Oh, you're speaking of like some people like Emma? You know what? That is a really interesting rule that you want to change because when I go into districts, that's one of the first things when I talk to students, middle, high school, not so much it hasn't happened in elementary school, but middle and high school students get upset about the dress code. But you know who gets upset the most? Girls. Because,
It's unfair.
ooh, why is it unfair?
I don't know.
Why do you think it's unfair? You said it. You said it like you knew.
Because there's different types of dress codes for different types of people.
Oh, yeah. I remember in high school, they went to task with the superintendent. And they were like, we were doing monologues or short stories. You know how we do the theater production? Having students tell stories, kind of like vagina monologues or these monologues where you're one-act plays or you're doing this whole short story. And one of the stories was about the dress code. And the superintendent had to pre-approve all the stories. And she says, I'm fine with every single one of these except for dress code. And I just let my students advocate for themselves because they have a voice. And they said, oh, this absolutely needs to stay in because it's unfair because you're policing our female bodies and not the boys' bodies. So what usually happens with dress codes and why it's typically unfair is that we'll create these dress codes for women because we are saying that they're disruptive to the school day because boys can't control themselves because they're looking at their short shorts or their tank tops or midriffs. So it was a really powerful moment because the superintendent, who's a woman, had to really think about that because here's the weird thing. So when I was in schools, sometimes the administrators would come to me and say, can you talk to that girl about her outfits? So imagine this, you're in the hallway and it's not intentionally they're trying to be skeevy or weird, but they're looking, especially this is really big the beginning of the school year because it's still hot out. They're trying to enforce the rules. So they're in the hallway and they're looking at every girl, what they have on. And I remember girls coming to my office being like, it is super weird that administrators are looking at me like that, but it's because of the dress code. So when they had this conversation with the superintendent, she did change the dress code because of that. I mean, it was something like they couldn't even wear leggings. And that's all y'all wear now is leggings.
That is true.
I mean, my goodness, y'all don't even wear jeans.
Leggings and hoodies. We wear jean shorts.
I'm like, but yeah, so I think that's a really, like when you think about unfair and then the boys level of it, what are you really saying to boys? With tank tops too and stuff like that, like they don't want your armpits exposed. I don't know.
What do
It's
you
just
mean
interesting.
armpits exposed? We all have armpits. Imagine
Right, to have them exposed. I know when you usually go to a gym, they don't want your armpits out because then it gets all in the material and stuff. But these are just some rules, and it's like, who made the rules? Why did you make the rules?
Yeah.
And are these fair? I think those are valid questions to ask administrators. And I love that the youth were going to task with the superintendent saying, this is not fair. And they had a conversation, and she heard their voice and valued their voice, and they made some changes. And I think that's the point, right? You have a voice, let it shine. All right, so what would you say to a grown-up who doesn't let kids share their ideas? Wait, so you don't even have to say anything? You're just making a face? She's
No,
doing the
this is
typical...
This is not that.
Wait, and the finger. What is the...
Let me think.
Oh, you're thinking.
Why
Oh,
would you not let your child do what they love?
I think you're getting a little sassy, young lady. You need to stay in a child's place.
But they're closer to my age than yours.
And what's that have to do with it? I'm the parent, and I know what's right. What you know? You're only 10.
But that child doesn't seem happy.
And then I think it would just go off the rails there. Because I even got stuck in being like, I'm trying to put myself in a adult's perspective or a caregiver's perspective. If you came and literally said that, and I felt like this was very much me. This is very much something I would have done at your age. And it's valid, but you're advocating, you're sticking up for your friend. But to say they're not happy, that to me was like a little like, oh, well, how do you know they're not happy? Like, I think they're fine. And what usually happens is with people, they get defensive. What do you do when you get defensive? You lash out on the other person instead of thinking about what they're saying and take it to the heart. Because what you basically did is said that I'm a bad parent. You didn't say that, but that's what I would probably internalize and hear. You're saying I'm a bad parent. Oh.
I'm not done. I have more to say.
Of course you do.
Have you even asked your kid what they like to do?
my jaw. What you mean? Like, I don't even have anything to say because yes, and it's too expensive, or like that is still, you can't be an artist. You can't be a fashion designer. Like, you know how hard it is to make it? You need to get a regular job and get you a pension. This world's crazy.
Well, maybe you should get to know what they want to do more, like buy them the things they want at Marshall's or something.
Oh.
Fabric from Marshall's.
Wait, y'all. I see how this just quickly turned into Emma easing her way into...
No, not true.
Yes,
it's not true. It's not true.
And so like, hey, mommy, I'd really like to explore my interests more and would like you to buy me some fabric.
That's true.
See, Joanne fabric. Kia said she has some fabric for you. No, I think what you're bringing up, so saying, have you asked your kid, which would require you to have a conversation. Would you listen?
Jinx.
See, listen, that's see. But no, I think that's really valid because I think a lot of times as adults, one thing I think, and I know that Daddy experienced this because Daddy's an artist. Y'all definitely get that from him, a little bit from me. But when Maya really started taking interest in art, at first he really wanted to say, don't do it because it's such a hard industry. But he didn't say that to her. He thought that, but he had to work through that himself. But saying that could totally deter you, right? If your dad's saying, don't do that, and they are literally an artist.
Did Daddy say that with me?
No, he's worked through, like Maya was the first one. So he sees that, but it's something like if you have done it, sometimes we want our children to follow in our footsteps, but then when we see the industry that we're in, we think it's going to be so great, and then we get in and you're like, oh, this is kind of hard. Yeah. We can start deterring their interest. But I think it's more about exploring, and it doesn't have to look exactly like our parents, right? So no one in this house wants to be a school psychologist, but whatever. If you came and said you want to be a school psychologist, I would have to...
You'd be like, we got to sit down. We need to talk about it.
But there's so much training that goes into school psychology, and there's so many things you can do with it. She just said, I would never be a school psychologist. You a whole little psychologist. Someone just said on LinkedIn the other week, Emma for Therapist of the Year, or Psychologist of the Year, I think they said. But yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, we can't let our own issues get in the way of what our children are into.
But now when Maya makes our daddy runs upstairs.
Well, yeah, I called him. I remember what she drew the other day, and I was like, you have to come see this, because Maya doesn't let us see her artwork.
Yeah, she hides.
But it's so, and that was just with colored pencil.
Yeah.
So good. So good. I'm ready for the art show. Ready for that art show to see what she actually made and what you made. So you know how you get these kiwi boxes in the mail? So for y'all, I'll put the link in the bio, but they're STEM or STEAM boxes. STEAM is with the art in it. So there's art.
Yeah, there's some art.
So Emma gets ones now at the age she's at. It's more electronics and
Hard.
yeah.
I can't do it anymore.
But that's the challenge. But they come every month. But people can get these boxes in the mail. So I'm thinking, because you're talking about Let It Shine, if you had your own line of at-home delivered boxes for kids, what would you put in a Let It Shine starter pack?
So first, it would have a pamphlet,
Okay.
and it would have like all the things in it. They would have crystals.
Of course, crystals. This child loves some crystals.
So for like different feelings, because some crystals have like different feelings, like rose quartz, it's like
Love.
yes, love. So like there would be like each one for like each different crystal, like a huge one,
Oh, a huge one. Okay.
like this big probably,
That's sounds kind of expensive.
maybe this big.
So a crystal's in there with the pamphlet and explaining it.
We would have some cards of affirmation,
Come on, affirmation cards.
and we would have a toy,
What kind of toy? Would it be different every
stress
month?
toy
Ooh, so this is more like a
that you can make.
a stress toy. So oh, I like that. Because in your room last week, I'm like, you took the stuffing, I think because Hero was eating one of his toys and he was ripping the stuffing out. His job is to either find food all day or to find the squeaker in the toy and rip it out.
Yeah.
So there's stuffing everywhere. You took that stuffing and made it into a stress toy. Was that the stuffing you used?
No,
Oh, was it?
there was some.
Yeah.
Her name is Miss Relaxing.
Was it like Miss Chill or Miss Relaxing, something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
So Emma made a
Miss
stress toy.
Calm, Miss Calm.
Calm. I was talking to my friend Maris because her younger daughter likes glue, tape, all the things. And I said, what is it with kids and tape? Emma used paper, stuffing, and tape to make,
And markers.
and markers, because she drew a little face on it, to make herself a fidget or stress.
Yeah, there's different parts. Like the body is like
I like
thing,
that.
and then like the arms you can like feel because there's just paper, and then like she got a little afro. So
Okay,
you can
afro.
you can feel it.
No, I like that. So I like the box idea with having a stress toy that you can make.
Wait, maybe I could add that in it.
What?
Like Miss Stress in it, but without the paper.
Oh, you can make it into like maybe an
Like
actual doll, fabric doll, and it can stitch up the rest of it. I like that. No, I think that's a great
Wait, what
idea.
if it could have like a zipper so you could like take it out or something.
Why you want to take out the stuffing?
No, like at the top so you could fluff her hair.
Oh, okay. Listen, I think you can make that. I think that's a really great idea. That you're looking at stones, and a lot of people use crystals. So Daddy and I went for a massage. He took me for this awesome massage at the Four Seasons in Philadelphia. And they said they have 700 pounds of crystals in the walls. And they had some, I don't know what the person was called, like a crystallologist come and talk about all the stones. So when we went into the room, we got a couples massage, and they had us look at all the different gems they had and stones. And then this is usually what people say, like, pick the one that's calling to you. So each of us picked a stone, and it resonated.
What was it?
I can't remember if mine is called, I want to say it's called, it's not oxblood, it's something
Wait,
bloodstone.
Oh,
And then I forget what Daddy picked, but I picked blood, and it was really,
topaz?
I don't remember. I think
Was it
maybe.
blue? Was it light blue?
No, I think his
Was it
actually
like-
might have been jade.
Ah, jade.
Green jade, I think.
I'm gonna teach you what those mean. I have them in my book.
But
that I
here's the
got.
thing about stones. So even when we on vacation, you know, I see people wearing stones all the time, but it's something really about being connected to the planet, right? So you're finding something that it's an ancient stone, and there's something grounding about that. So I think you're talking
Love
about
a
stones.
giant geode.
Yeah,
This
the geode, to find something inside. Like, those are super cool things. And they're talking about stress. So you're having a wellness kit, but actually adding a STEAM DIY component. Listen, anyone out there that's a developer or whatever, Emma has an idea that she's ready. She's ready. So her Let It Shine kit.
Let it shine.
And speaking of Let It Shine, because again, you want fabric so you can make your own designs. I love this question. So what does your most confident outfit look like? Y'all can't see her. She's So excited. She's shaking her legs and like doing like the villainous hand thing. Why?
So the pants would be leather. They would have like a nice little flare.
Oh, a flare.
And the shoes would be like boots with spikes, like Converse.
Spikes?
Yeah, there's like spikes at the top.
Oh, got you.
And they would be, drum roll please, pink.
Pink spikes, or the shoes are pink?
The shoes would be light pink.
Light pink, so blush. And the spikes?
And the pants would be black.
Black. Okay, what about the top?
The top, it would be a nice butterfly top from the early 2000s.
So wait, not butterflies on it, but I can't remember what a butterfly top is.
Like it's like a huge butterfly with like, it's a tank top, like with a huge butterfly.
Oh, got you.
And then it would be a nice jean jacket that matches the pants.
So what
And then-
matches the leather
and then-
pants? A jean jacket with leather attached to it, or what?
Yeah, with leather.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait, I need to do the hair.
Oh, I said outfit, and you're like, the hair is also part of that.
It's a part of everything.
Oh, excuse me.
Part of everything. That's the thing that makes the outfit.
See, I always say shoes make or break the outfit. Listen, that's true. You ever see someone that has like a really awesome outfit on, and you get down to your shoes, and you're like, man.
The one thing that scares me in fashion is that those leggings that match your skin.
I've not seen those. What are you wearing on top of it? It just looks like you walk around with no pants on?
Yes, it just looks like you're butt naked.
Are people wearing those at school?
No. Like
They probably
out
put
in
that
pu-
in the dress code. They
and
probably
out-
said y'all can't wear that.
out in public, they're just like,
Where are you going without me that you see that?
one time I saw it before I was like 8 and I saw someone with it when we went to Target. I was like,
Oh my gosh. So what's the hair? Since you believe hair.
makes it.
Okay, excuse me.
It would be 2 space buns, but
Space buns?
yeah, with hearts.
What are space buns? Like them big old Mickey Mouse type things?
Yes, but they would be butterflies.
Did you make that term up, space buns?
No, it's a real thing.
I never heard of that. But you would shape the buns into hearts? You probably had to use like pipe cleaners or something to do
Yeah.
that. That's cute. I can see that. That sounds like something you could probably make on Sims or like,
No.
oh, if you
We
could,
would
you
need
would.
CC,
A what?
custom content.
See,
Any of our Sims players out there, you would understand. You would understand.
this is where I feel old because I'm like, what are you talking about?
You don't know the
Space
slang.
buns and CC.
Susu
What's Susu?
means hello in Sims.
Yo, I don't play video games, but it's funny that you say that because I was looking at my friends on Instagram. She had a story, and it was, we get on our kids from this generation about playing video games all the time. Because, you know, I'm like, I'm about to take that PS5.
You're like-
Because y'all be fighting on the PS5. It's annoying to me. And she said, not getting on our kids about it, but she's like, but we are in 1987. We're sitting there spending 3 days trying to figure out how to do Super Mario jump to the next the next brick. And I was laughing because I'm like, that's true. Trying to strategize, like figure out how we could just keep doing it. We would die and do it over and over again. But we're sitting here talking about y'all on these games all day.
That's my
Atari, Super Nintendo. It was Nintendo, then Super Nintendo. What else? I never had PlayStation. I never had PlayStation. I didn't have Atari either, but I would go to my friend's house to play Atari. But I got the Nintendo and then the Super Nintendo and then, and I just had my reunion and my friend Emmanuel, the only other black person, was like, in our class, he's like, you had a Game Boy, Amber. It was like the coolest thing. I had the Game Boy and everyone was like, and it was like black and white. It was this thick. All right, I sound old.
You're not.
I mean, if you think about it,
You look.
this is pre-internet, okay? This is pre-cell phones. So I sound pretty old. Anyway. So let's finish up here. Okay, what's the song that makes you want to dance like nobody's watching? Oh, is this a drum roll again?
No.
Oh, it's
I'm
not a
just
drum roll?
happy.
Oh, you're just happy. Okay.
Beauty and a Beat by Justin Bieber featuring Nicki Minaj.
Beauty and the Beat.
I could play it.
Oh, you know what? If you play it, copyright infringement.
I don't want to sing it though.
You can't play because it's not gonna let us play it. You know what? I respect the copyright, y'all. But no, I do. So there is like a little hook on there. I can see there is a dance beat to that. So that's not an old
Nicki
song,
Minaj.
but that's an older song.
Justin.
Do you know? I wonder what year that was. It wasn't early 2000. I'm trying to think how old he is.
It was in the 2010s. 2017.
You make that sound so old.
That's not old.
So about 7 years ago. Okay. I think that's a good one. And what do you like most about that song that makes you want to dance?
The beat.
The beat. It's something about the beat.
It's the...
If you don't have a good beat, I'm not dancing.
Yeah, if you have like... Do, do, do.
There has to be some bass.
Yeah.
That bottom. You need that. No, that's good. Okay. I'll put that in show notes too, y'all. Y'all might want to dance to that.
Nicki Minaj. Justin.
All right. So last thing as we close out for today is finish this sentence. My voice is important because...
People need to listen to it.
Come on, listen, because...
Because it's important.
It's important because you have a lot of wisdom. And I think you're realizing that. I think you said you realized it at 4, but because you keep using your voice and we center your voice and we're giving you an opportunity to talk, other people are seeing it and it's inspiring other people. So I never want you to lose that. So again, we always appreciate your affirmations, your encouragement for Emma as she continues to use her voice and let it shine.
Let it shine, let it shine, let it shrivel.
Let it shrivel up?
It's a song from the Lorax.
Say let it shrivel up?
No, like, when they're trying to grow a tree and the mayor is like, and he's like, let it shine, let it shine. Well, no, it's let it die.
Oh no, but they're singing to let it shine, or you just made that up?
No, I just made that up to the beat. I was like,
not you taking to church this little light of mine and mixing it up with let it die. Oops.
Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
That's it. We're going to let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm going to let it shine.
This little light of mine. I'm going to let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine.
On that, y'all. See you next time. Let your light shine. Okay, that was such a joy-filled and deeply reflective conversation. From preschool stories of standing up to unfairness and racism, to what confidence feels like, and of course, it is wearing a superhero cape, to imagining what a Let It Shine box might look like for kids across the world. Emma really reminded us that having a voice has nothing to do with age or title. It's about knowing that you matter. It's about choosing to show up as yourself before the world tells you to shrink. She reminded me that being yourself and knowing who you want to be is not a performance or a prize. It's a gift. It is a birthright. And what I'm still sitting with is this. We don't teach emotional honesty by demanding that kids speak. We teach it by showing them that their voice will be held, that their truth, even when it's messy, is sacred. And yet, so many of us all are still moving through workplaces, schools, and systems that expect silence and call it professionalism. They reward compliance and call it excellence. But presence is power. And as Dr. Raquel Martin reminded us, identify one piece or one place in your life where you've been performing safety. So here's your invitation for this week. Say something that feels hard, but honest. Affirm a young person's brilliance before the world convinces them otherwise. And ask yourself, what might open up in my life if I finally let my light shine without apology? Let this be your practice, because when we stop performing safety, we start practicing liberation.
And remember, Emma said, you have a voice too. Let it shine. Let's not just say that to our children. Let's believe that for our own selves. Now, so if this conversation stirred something in you, I hope you'll share it, leave a review, subscribe on Substack and YouTube, and keep joining us on this journey, because it isn't just about parenting, it's about leadership, it's about legacy, and it's about a kind of freedom that comes when we stop shrinking and start living in our 3D power. Until next time, y'all, keep shining by discovering your truth, discerning your path, and determining your power.